Hello again, and welcome to another film. This time I will tell a little about how we actually going into the Nikon F and actually take out the exposure control assembly, which is under here, all this here. And it's a bit complicated to come into it, but it's not a big problem. But we need some tool. I mean, flathead screwdrivers, small and 1.2 millimeter, 1.6, a good tweezer, some homemade tools. This is for taking off the retaining ring under the winder lever. This is actually made for taking out the gear on a on a bike, but it works pretty good. And another tool, which is from a wrench. I think it's something 16 inch, and let's we go. So to take, we need to take off the finder, which sometimes can sit pretty hard, and one need to push really much in. But if you cannot, one can just press even more in with a piece of wood or something. It works pretty good. It's adjustable in here, but that's another thing. Now to get into this part here, one need to begin with the lever. I mean, not the lever here, but also but the counter top here, which sits on with 3 small set screws here. Just loosen them. There's no need to take them out. And there are 3 of them. Then it's possible to just lift it off. Very easy. No problem with that. And the reminder thingy for how much film do you put in, 20 or 36. Now under the I mean, before you can access these 3 screws that hold the lever, there's a washer here, spacer, and then we have access to 3 screws. You see the lever itself, and under that's attached to another what can you say, part that make it possible to wind the film. I don't know what it's called, but yeah. So this is a 1.6 millimeter screw. I mean, not 1.6 millimeter screw, but my screwdriver, which is actually pretty good for those small tiny screws, 3 of them. And don't put them too far away, because we need them, at least a 1, when working with the shutter assembly or the intermediate plate, like they said in the repair manual. So, and this one, it has 3 as you can see here. Looks like that. And then go into those here and there. Now the shutter button, oh sorry, yeah, the shutter button we need to take off first, and by doing that there's a small set screw here, and just loosen it. So that's enough. And then another homemade tool will be used. This is from a wrench, which I have filed and ground, so it can be used to unscrew this retaining screw or nut. So that's it. A handy tweezer is okay. If we have to, oh, one more turn. So it should be enough. So this is it. And the small set screw here. Really tiny. So take care of that. Now the AR ring, which is actually called that in the repair manual, is just come off. Then the shutter button itself, and then the exposure wheel button, and I set it to 60 because that's actually the easiest way to when unscrew the other part here. But yeah, we need to take more parts off to have off the top cover. Okay, there are two tiny screws here, there and there. Unscrew those. They're made of brass, so they are not magnetic like many other screws in this camera. All the screws out around the camera is made of brass. Of course it looks nice. So but on the internal screws, all of them are magnetic. So this is the plate, and there is a spring here also. And then the ring here comes off. Now there's actually a retaining ring here around the advanced assembly. So I use my filed and grinded tool, and just there are two notches there and there, and of course this one I have made fits perfect. So I just put it over and unscrew it. Maybe it sits tight in your camera. Of course I've been into this before, so it doesn't sit that tight. Off with that. And yeah, we have to continue because we have to take off the top cover here, that part, and because of it sits in here, we need to take off the front plate, and of course the name plate. Sit with 2 screws, nothing special. They are non-magnetic, just so you know it. And then it's free. Now there are also 2 screws here on the side, also non-magnetic, so it's handy with a tweezer. And of course on the other side too. Oh. And there are 2 screws up here. Of course they are magnetic. So, and then it's possible to just take off the front plate. There's a bar in here, a small bar here, which is glued attached to the front plate. So yeah, that's it. Now, and then we're actually close to what we are looking for. The last screw sits here, and it's also non-magnetic, so just put it aside. Now then we can lift off the top plate of this really old camera. It looks like that. And under here I want to take out the whole assembly around here, and I will show you how you can do it, and also to put it back into the camera. But there I have been into the camera before, and I found that it was much easier when putting things back, and also how it actually looks inside if I took off the mirror house. So I will do so. I know it's not necessary, but in this case it is actually easier to show how things works and some other details. So I will continue with take off the mirror house, which is not a big problem. I need to take out the rewinder, and in this case there used to be a small set screw in here, but it was not in mine anymore because it broke, so and it was a bit pain to take it out. So just use the end of a tweezer and then gently unscrew it. Now there is a small spacer in here, so when you press on it, this one comes off. Now this is just a pin with a small spring, and let it be on. Now the 2 small screws here on the flash plate, top plate, need to come off. They're really tiny. And there are 4 screws under here, and there is a plastic insulation electric thingy This is not in good shape, but so it is. I mean, the camera is from beginning of the 60s, so no one can expect it to be okay. So, and then it just pop off. All 4 screws, that's it. There's an aluminium plate, a flat spring made of steel, and then I also unscrew this part here. Maybe someone would say, oh no, you make marks. Yeah, but you cannot see them when the other plastic cover is on. And I only use the camera for making films. So there's 1 screw left here on the left. And that's actually that. Just lift this plate off. Okay. And one thing to mention, it is possible to adjust this plate here that unlock the viewfinder mirror. No, not the mirror, but the prism. I mean this one, to unlock it, but also to unlock the view screen, focus screen. And as you can see here, if you do not press too much, it will not unlock. But I need to take that off too, so you can see how it looks actually. And come on. So, then there's a small pin here, which actually is connected to this part in here. As you can see, the little fork. Yeah. Okay. Now, to take out the mirror house, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. There's no need to unscrew those 2, because they are held together with the mirror house and the focusing, the mirror house and the front part. So and then, of course, you need to take off the leather. And there are 2 deep screws in here, there and there. They're all the same length. I mean, almost. Those here on the front is longer than the screws on the back here. It will make it so much easier to show how things actually looks inside when I take off the front part and the mirror house. That's my intention, to show you how it looks. Then the two screws that hold the self-timer attached to the mirror house. Only two. I mean, there's no need for unscrew the other that is connected. Yeah. So this one will pop off. This is how it looks inside. The one connection, oh, that was just the focusing screen. There is, oh, hold on, sorry. There is a connection here on the mirror house that is connected to this fork here, and if it's not attached, you cannot fire the shutter. So there's one thing we need. Of course, there are many more. One thing to mention: have to unsolder this cord here and the other cord. Maybe it's not necessary, but it will be much easier to get into parts. So I will unsolder the white and the yellow. So, and this comes off. So then there are two screws connected to the flash contact, which is part of the flash contact, because the flash contact itself sits in here, as you maybe can see. There's something in there, not easy to see with the when I haven't unscrewed all parts left yet. So those two screws and the flash contact is off. Now to get a better view of what's happened, those two screws here that hold the plate here need to be unscrewed. And off with that. Now, then we have a much better view of what's happened. You see, this assembly here we need to take out and show how things looks. But before we do so, the adjustment for the 60 is that screw. So by adjusting that, I mean, the what do you say, the my starting point for adjust the shutter is 60. So if I put this on, and the spring and the plate, it can only sit one way, and the 2 screws, I just put one in, there's no need for both of them. Where did it go? Like there. So it just screwed in like that. See, now we can actually work with the exposure. But I also need to wind the shutter. And there's one thing, when working with the camera, I mean the body right now, it will not work even if I advance the camera, advance the shutter, of course. Because there's one thing we need to do, which is a good thing. I just use one screw, there's no need for screw all the screws in here. So, and at the moment it's possible to advance the camera. It's already advanced, but if I press the shutter button, nothing will happen. See? Nothing. But if I push down here, it will advance. So, to make it more easier to work with the camera, I just use a half part of the, well, I don't know the name, but you hang up clothes when you have make your washing. But it's this shape is very good for this purpose. So I put this in and lock it here. And then I can work with the shutter. Nice and easy. Maybe I need one more screw. Here at the it's not correct. Attached. So we try this. So. And then do like this. So now it's easier to work with. To take out the whole assembly here, one need to there's one screw here that I need to unscrew, but it's spring loaded or whatever. There is a spring in here that will push it away, actually. So I made a small little tool out of a piece of the other part of this one, which I put in here. Of course, I have released the shutter, and then I put this in here. It have a small gap here, you can see, but it fits perfect in here. So it's locked in place and will stay there until I take it out again. So now we will take out the assembly here. So now we do so. Okay, the shutter is relaxed. And then I will unscrew the rewinder, no, the winder itself, lever. So, and of course the ring comes off too. Now, the this part here, I don't know the name of it, because the whole thing is assembly when you look into the repair manual, as I see it. But the two screws here and the one screw here, they're oh, this one here, and this one comes off. Take care of the small plate here. Is a spring for the AR knob, which you can see here how it works. It will lock there. So, but unscrew that part. And the small spring here comes off. And the last one, is a bit longer. So there are two small and one long. Now, the reason to get this out is when setting on 60, it will be way much easier to take this part out than set it to any of the other. I'll show you why. So just lift up the whole assembly, turn it or twist it, and then it comes off. So in the repair manual, this one says as a one assembly, so one part. Now the next thing is there are some screws around here which I also need to unscrew fully. There's one here. Go closer, yeah, there. This one, and this one, and this one, and the last one. They are all different lengths and shape. This is a countersunk screw. This is just a normal, ordinary screw. As you can see, And then there's a long, no, there's actually one more. I forgot, sorry. But there's a long one here, meaning really long. And that's why I put this piece of wood. So this screw comes out. So. And there's also a tiny one here, which I need to take out. And the last one over here. So keep it pressed like this and unscrew this screw here. This is also countersunk, as you can see. Now, to lift out this assembly, there's one thing. The long screw that's actually sit on this one here is held in place by this piece of wood, and therefore it will make it much easier to actually lift out this part. But there's also another thing in here. Hope you can see this lever here. I have to press it all the way over here as long as I can to free this. So if I press it over here, it will be possible, hopefully. Oh, sorry, the one thing I forgot before we take that out. There's another spring which also need to come out here. This spring that press on one part here also need to be unscrewed. So just unscrew it a little, not fully, and then you have done that. You lift out this. So. Because then it will be easier when you put it back in again. So unscrew it. And take out the whole thing. Now we can actually take it out. Not easy, no, but still fun. So press this part away and lift out the whole assembly. I will show you why I do this in that way. So this is the back of the part in here. Now this part I move this one here, and it is actually connected down here because it's the slow part. Now this part here is it has to stay on this side of this pin here, not on the other side. So it has to stay there and push against this pin here. So but let's have a look on the assembly here. This is how it looks from the back, and one can turn it around all the way, no problem. But there is another pin that is important when assembling the thing again. This pin here is when assembling goes into this hole here. Very important. So, and it's therefore it's easier to take out the mirror house, because it can be a little tricky to see what's going on in here when this small pin here come into this hole here, as you can see. Maybe it's better if I move so you can see how it looks. Now, the adjustment thingy, I already mentioned the screw, the adjustment screw of this is an eccentric that adjusts the 160. Up here there is the 1/500 screw, and it's possible to adjust with a 1.6mm screw, so it's also eccentric. And underneath here we will see where this is, the 1000. It's not here, it's here. So this part, this pin, is just the 1 to 1000. So in the repair manual they said something about adjustment of the shutter curtain, the speed of 15.5 millisecond, with the set adjust for shutter curtain the speed of 14.5 millisecond, with the set of where it went. It's difficult to have the screen on here. I have a monitor, but here you can see how it shows in the repair manual. So so one have to regulate the front curtain speed by changing the front curtain tension by turning the worm number 362 after loosening the set screw. And of course we also need to take that part with, because underneath here, the bottom plate, there's also parts. Only 4 screws holding the bottom plate in place, and then it comes off. Now the worm that were mentioned in the repair manual is actually the one here. So this is the first curtain and the second one. Take care, it's really thin metal. So the worm that they're talking about is that here. As I understand, it should be relaxed by loosen the set screw here and loosen the tension on this screw to relax the curtain, the first curtain. And as I understand it, then one need to advance and adjust the timing of the curtain. But well, I need to practice, I mean, to understand it more. But maybe the other people have some understanding about this thingy. So what I will do is actually to put things back in again, and I will make another film about it, but sooner. But this is an appetizer for this thing. So, but to put things back in again, it can be a little tricky. See, there's one thing that needs to be in place. This one needs to be relaxed. I mean, the exposure has to set on 60, and this arm here has to be pushed on this one. This arm here has to be pushed on here, and this pin here need to be set like something like this. Maybe it has to go even more over to that place, to that angle here, but I'll show you how I put it in again. Remember, this one has to stay on this against the wall here, and if you by accident has come to put the things here, it will not work. I know. I've tried. So put this in here, and remember the flash contact part of it here has to stay on this side. Oh, sorry, out of frame. Remember the flash contact, this one here, need to be on this side of this contact. That's the other part of it. So when putting it back in, you just pop it in here. Like this. And remember this part here has to be pushed over to here because of freeing. So if you can see it there, it has to go. This part here has to go over here, over this cam. If not, it will not work. So therefore it's much easier when with the mirror house out. So when pressing this, okay, maybe another tool. Dentist tool is very handy for that kind of work. So there we are, almost. So it's there. And then you remember the pin. Okay. See the flash contact come on the other side. Not good. Well, who said it should be so easy? Should be something like there. And the flash contact, so. And then one thing is that you remember the small pin in here, this one here, it has to be pushed all the way up to the tiny hole there. There you can see. Just do it again. I was out of frame. If I can manipulate it a bit. Yeah, see? Okay. So the small pin in here need to be pushed all the way over and catch the hole. There it goes in. I know it can be difficult to see, but hopefully it will work for you. So then I will just assemble it again. And just use the back cover here to make it more stable to work with the assembly process. So maybe it's not the correct way of doing this, but well, nobody haven't told me yet how to do this, so I try to figure it out myself. the hole with the long screw. It's also so it is, and the countersunk. So okay, things fine. And then this screw goes in here. So, and the spring. With the tiny screw. Just set it in a bit, and then lift over the spring here. Also the other end. So, which can be a little annoying. So one have to unscrew it in even more. So sits okay. Let's see how it will go. There. And one need to push it even more in, and then it sits there. Whew. Yeah. So it's fine. Now, then it's time to put in this assembly. I don't know what it is, what the name of it is, but it has to sit with that side here against over here. So one putting in, it's easier. And also one thing, this pin here has to go against the pin here, so it will look like that. So when putting it in, one have to twist it a little, like that. And hopefully it will go in. I know I could have taken off the exposure wheel, which I will do just to make it easier. because then I have more space. So off with that, and then it looks like something here. Put it in and then twist it like this here, because then it should be possible to push it down, and why will it not go like that? Oh, I forgot one thing. Yeah. This lever up here. Oh, sorry. This lever up here. This one need to push towards the front. Then it will be much easier to slide this in. I forgot that. So once again, you see this lever here will push against, press this away, and there will be full space around here, and then it will be easier to put in this assembly. So like doing this. Then twist it and let it slide in. And of course so. And hopefully it will be easier to why will it not doing that? Okay. Oh yeah, it has to catch the parts inside, which I cannot see, but hopefully it will work. Something like that, and then press this aside. Now, so it sits where it should. So attach one screw. Yeah. And the other parts, just have to load one screwdriver with one screw, so it's ready to put in. Hopefully it will go, yeah. So it is. And this screw goes in. When I first put this in, it was too much over to this side here. So one need to align it proper, because then the AR bottom, this one, will bind a bit. It will be too tight. So let's see if we can actually get something to work. It will be interesting. This can be a little problem. Now I will just put on the plate here. I don't know what the name is. This one. Simply don't know the name of the plate, but it has to be attached there. And a tiny screw. There's my tiny screwdriver. So it fits. Okay, fine. I think it's amazing mechanical stuff, this camera. There's almost no plastic in here. Okay. Pull a little screw. It's there. And then it's there. So. Now, that was it. And, well, we just take the adjustment thingy. Because if you look here, of course, the 60 is here. The 500 is here. And under here, in here, you can actually see there is a tiny screw. Maybe you can see it. There is a tiny screw in here, but it's an eccentric, like this one and the other one. So adjust it that way. It should be of course, if you can get the repair manual from arcticwolf.net, they have it there. So 160, one for 500, one of 1,000 over here. Now I will just put on the flash contact. I mean, part of the flash contact. So there and there. Need to heat up the solder iron. Now let's see if it works. I mean, if it should be done proper. So can be, yes, so. And of course I can take out my little wooden tool here, so it's free. And the spring and the top plate of the exposure wheel, so. So that's it. And I also put on the shutter button. And this, so the shutter button will not disappear. Just a little. So, and then the advance lever ring and the advance self. So now let's see if it works. And again, push here. Nothing happened. And why not? Why will it not work? There was something about it, I remember. There's something I remember. Where's my screwdriver? Here. There's something that reminds me of something I forgot. Okay. Yeah, here we are. One should turn this so everything is in correct place again, and then we are back on track. So don't be worried about that. It was just me who couldn't remember. So now it's now the things are work proper again. And so it's not actually a hard problem to get into it. And then I will just assemble things again. So if the things are not working proper, you should remember to turn the exposure dial a few turns around, 1, 2, 3 times around, before if things are stuck, so you just turn it, it's no problem, and then should fall into place under here. And the assembly process is just straightforward. So I hope you can see it is more easy to show it with the mirror house out, and maybe it's not necessary to do it when assemble the thing, I don't know, but it was just the way I think it should work for showing other how it looks inside. So that was it. And then I could actually just put in the mirror house. We can take a look how it actually looks here. This is the, I think this is the what you say, old mirror house. There are two different types of mirror houses, the old version and the new version. This is when pressing here, I think. Oh, when pressing down here, the mirror will look up and relax. This is when the shutter is actually advanced, and when pressing the shutter button, I press here on the shutter button and then look for what's happened. The mirror will flip up, and when the time is go, this pin over here will flip back again. Do it again. So advance the camera, the shutter, then press the shutter button. This is what's actually happened. And when the time is go, the mirror will flip back again when doing so. It's actually a very hard, strong spring here. So, and of course the self-timer. This pin has to be up, all the way up before you put the mirror house in. And this one has to go to be as much down as it can, like this. Not push it down, but just stay there. Because then it will be easy to just put the mirror house in. See, like this. The pin here go against the self-timer here. So when advance the self-timer, one will do so, and this pin, when I push the button on the front, this pin will slowly push on the shutter pin. So we'll see what's happened. See, it moves and then click. And it will press down here on the shutter button. And up here, this is actually the connection pin to the to this pin here. So therefore, this pin has to be up here on the self timer here, and this has to be as much down as it can, just stay there. And it connects into the two parts here when sliding in. And one third thing, this pin here will push against here and flip up the mirror when pushing the button. So let's see if we can go this into place. So that's it. Time for mini screws. And the two on the back, which is smaller than the other one. Oh, I see I'm running out of battery on my video camera. Then this one. So, and of course on the front. Just to be sure and protect my shutter curtain. So, and there are also tiny screws, two tiny screws that hold the self timer in place. So, and then the tiny screws here. So here we are. So just need to change my battery in my camera. And here we go again. Now this part here, which is the connection to the lock for the viewfinder, and the finder itself, eye finder, I simply just take out the 3 screws here because it will be much easier to set this place into correct place. So this is how it looks in here. Just put it down and let it so there, and just attach 1 screw, and with a tweezer it will be easier if I can catch the, it's not easy. Okay, we do another thing. It's handy with dentist tool, so one can actually lift up here, this one, let it stay there, and hopefully it can catch the thread. Yes. So and then it works perfect. So I can put in the, turn it correct, the 2 here, then put it in, and then push the button and it will fall in place. Then this thingy, so, and so that's it. And I will take off the exposure dial again, again, and put things, I mean the top cover and the plates, all things back into correct place. And yeah, the top cover here, and everything is there. So we just put this on. Where did my screw went? Somewhere. So ooh, nothing happened. So the retaining ring, just to be sure if this one, the AR, goes into correct place, and yeah, it's fine. And it's much easier to unscrew the retaining ring before putting on the AR ring. I mean, with this tool. Then put this on. And the retaining ring, or whatever it calls, will just be screwed in. Just have to catch the thread. Yes, yes, there. Yeah, I have to redone this tool. Then my tiny set screw here. So it is there. Now, and then the advance ring and lever. Something like there. So, and then so. Yeah, we are almost done. It has been a long journey around a camera which is that old and still work. I'm pretty sure the digital camera will not work that long. I mean, for so. Wow, it's alive. Whew. Yeah, that's fine. The spring and the plate with the two screws. I mean, there's only one, but there will be the other. Short time. So, and the last one here. Oh. So, Yeah. And all the other things on the other side. Unscrew here. Maybe there is a tool, I don't know, maybe a friction tool or something like that. I have no idea, but I don't know what they do at the Nikon factory when they produce those old cameras. They probably have some special tools to assemble the camera. I mean, for that tiny little thing, of course they have a lot of special tool. But I have never seen them, so I just make my own tools. And it's not that hard. You can use many things to make a tool of which is not meant to be a tool for camera working. But I mean, if you use your imagination to see how things could be used, not what they are meant for, but and that's, I think it's interesting to use a tool or tools for other purpose that it was designed for. And if I cannot find them, I just make them myself. If you have a Dremel grinder, it's really easy. I mean, not easy, but you can produce a lot of different tools with only one machine. And of course also a lot of special grinders or files or whatever things you can buy for those Dremel machine. So then you're almost there. Just the nameplate, and of course the film counter and the dishwasher, the reminder film, and of course the top with the tiny small set screws. There are 3, so, and they are made of brass, so take care not tighten them too much. Maybe they are made of steel. I think they're made of brass. Of course they have to look nice. So, and then the front. So there are 2 shiny on the side, which is on the lower part of the front. hopefully, yeah, there it is. And then the 2 screws on the inside. I mean the lower. So, and then the nameplate with 2 nice looking screws. So then the last one, and then we are actually done and back to life again. So just so, and then click it on, and then we are done. Yes, and a thousandth of a second. And we begin with 60, yes, and we end up with the 60. So I hope you enjoy the content, and hope you can use it. And there will be more films of other stuff. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.